Mr. Valentine Part 9, a Miraculous Ladybug Fanfiction. If you have not heard the previous 8 parts of this story, you can find a link to them in the description box below. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up and comment down below in support of more fanfiction. Marinette woke up as Tiki bounced onto her face, greeting her with a hug.
"Get up! Get up!"
she exclaimed, tugging at the blankets wrapping her. While her first response was usually to groan and bat her companion away, Marinette followed her advice and sat up.
"What time is it?"
she asked.
"Almost 9.
She scrambled out of bed in surprise, catching her foot on the blankets as she rushed to check her phone. Her chin hit the floor with a thud, and she winced, taking a sharp breath before standing up and running to the mirror. It was Valentine's Day. She was spending Valentine's Day with Adrien, and she could flirt and giggle all she wanted with him, and it'd be real. It'd be a real date with Adrien Agreste. Transforming took care of her makeup and hair, but Marinette wanted the time to get ready anyway. It was the last date she'd ever go on with the boy, so she may as well start it off right. As the radio played over the sound of water pattering the floor of her shower, Marinette thought about what it would be like to treat Adrien as a classmate. She'd pay attention in class, refusing to let her eyes wander to the seat in front of her. And his strange supply of camembert that disappeared over the course of the school day wasn't details she needed to concern herself with anymore. A feeling of loss sat on her chest, unwelcome and without claim. It was over, wasn't it?
"Cat!"
she exclaimed, seeing the Parisian idol lounging in her parents' kitchen. What was he doing here?
"I just thought I'd drop this off."
He pointed to a basket on the table.
"Happy Valentine's Day, Marinette."
I didn't realize we were this close.
"Anyone who's met me on rooftops is my friend, unless they attack me on a near daily basis."
Marinette bit back a laugh. That's one way to define a relationship, I suppose.
"Any plans today?"
Cat Noir asked, shifting his weight from one side to the other. Just meeting a friend.
"So, no chance of just you and me then?"
Why do you care?
"Rumor on the street says you just broke up with your boy."
He was never my boy, Marinette said, and gossip is unbecoming.
"What can I say? I'm an alley cat."
Thanks for checking in on me, kitty.
"So, you're really okay?"
He lowered his voice, a bit too sincere for casual conversation. Yeah, I'll see you around, okay? They said their goodbyes and, a few minutes later, Marinette was up on the roof sporting her ladybug persona. She still had a couple of hours before meeting Adrien, so she may as well make some couples day and take some photos around town. She didn't have school, and holidays always claimed a few akumatized victims, so an extra patrol couldn't hurt. Strangely enough, no commotion happened as the day progressed on, and Ladybug found herself at the rendezvous point to meet the one and only Adrien Agreste. He was out in broad daylight, chatting with some obviously infatuated girls, and she laughed, touching down at the scene. She had no reason to be jealous this time.
"Hey!"
he said, his grin spreading a little wider as her hips brushed his as a form of greeting. Ready to go? Ladybug asked.
"Yeah, just one more picture, okay?"
She rolled her eyes as squeals of excitement came from his impromptu fan club before grabbing his hand and stealing him away from the public eye. Sure, There'd be tabloids to clear up with Cat Noir the next time she saw him, but hashtag Lady Noir was already trending, so she may as well shake the media up a little bit.
Where are we going?
Adrien asked. She felt his hand fidget in hers and realized that his palm was sweating through his mittens. Ladybug couldn't feel it through her suit, but she did the same thing a few days ago as Marinette. He was nervous. Keep it together, she thought. You can't afford to lose focus. Even if Adrien was paying attention to only her, she couldn't let it get to her. She couldn't let it get to her. She couldn't... Hello! Adrien froze in place as he realized Ladybug led him to the Dupain Chang bakery. Her parents, Marinette's parents, stood outside, waving at the two of them.
What?
Adrien began, baffled. I pulled some strings, Ladybug said. Come on, they're letting us use the space. She squeezed his hand twice and led him through the door, past the goods, and into the kitchen. She turned on the fans earlier, so the bakery's heat shouldn't be overbearing.
What are we making?
He asked, taking off his gloves. We're in a bakery in Paris. What do you think we're making?
I don't know. Macaroons.
She pursed her lips into a smile, pleased at the deceptive scene. Nope.
Croissants?
Getting colder.
Fried chicken.
He wiggled his eyebrows, and she could tell he was trying to be funny. 3 strikes, handsome, Ladybug said, noticing how he twitched at the nickname. Whoops. He was Marinette-level nervous. She should be more sensitive. Bath bombs. What? Here. She tossed a bottle of citric acid at him. Take off your jacket and join me. Ladybug pulled out a mixing bowl and ran to the cupboard to grab some cornstarch. Now that he was in her home, her nerves were starting to get to her. She could tell herself she was moving on, but her heart beat a different rhythm regardless. She couldn't break the cycle. Months and months of the same story. Would she imagine scenarios like this, even years from now? Would her future self look back while dating someone else without regrets? She might regret not fighting harder, despite her mask's responsibilities. But she might regret spending so much time and heartbreak on Adrien Agreste. Despite her thoughts, right now, he was worth it. Ladybug turned around and lost her breath at the sight of him. Adrien was wearing a button-up black shirt and khaki pants, but there's something about a guy rolling his sleeves up to the elbows that's just so hot. Sure, she was used to seeing the look with his usual white button-up, but putting him in black was mesmerizing.
So?
He said, smoothing a crease on his shirt and looking up.
What would you like me to do?
She grabbed a whisk and a few other ingredients and went back to him. Here, Ladybug handed him a bowl. I'll measure the dry ingredients in, so you keep mixing. Okay? Time passed quickly for the two of them. By the time the couple packed the mixture into a silicone ice tray, Adrien had opted for the cat-shaped one, and wiped up the excess powder on counter. Twilight had already begun. The tray still needed to dry, so the two of them opted for a movie. They didn't want to overstay their welcome, but knew the cinema would be packed with last-minute dates, so she led the way to Alia's house. Ladybug had actually set a movie screening there ahead of time, and knew Alia wouldn't mind. Her best friend even made sure her sisters would be out of the house while they were there. Sure, the dates skated a little too close to her civilian identity, but there was enough relation to Ladybug that surely Adrien wouldn't put it together. Of course, the two didn't focus on the movie. They were acutely aware of how their fingers rested together, a perfect shape connecting the two of them. Ladybug could tell that Adrien couldn't stop smelling her hair as her head rested on her shoulder, and she, in turn, took advantage of his collar, teasing it with her nose as she tried to identify his detergent. Sure, there was popcorn throwing and a few jokes here and there, but the two of them stayed quiet the duration of the movie, focusing on the presence of the other and wishing it was less complicated. Earlier in the day, no matter how many times she ran the scenario, Ladybug couldn't figure out how they would part and how she would feel about it. Now, on a street corner in Paris, her heart throbbed as she turned to say goodnight to her date. He hadn't said anything on the walk back, and neither did she. Somehow she ended up wearing his jacket and holding his hand, a false presentation of their relationship. They liked each other. She could tell, through his silence, that he felt the same about her as she did him. Sometimes silence speaks louder than words. He turned to look at her and they held eye contact for a moment. Adrien brought their hands to his chest and looked down, raising his shoulders to sigh. This was it. This was Cinderella's midnight. He reached out and pulled her head to his shoulder, refusing to let go of her hand but keeping her close. She gave him a one-armed hug and closed her eyes, preparing herself for the next moment. Adrien pulled away slowly, opening his eyes to hold contact for a moment longer before stepping back. His fingers trailed over hers, a lengthened touch before he turned and walked away. That was it. The night was over. She was just a girl on a street corner now. Ladybug stood there for an extra few minutes before regaining her breath and turning to leave. She had to get home and go to bed and find a place to hide Adrien's jacket. Alia would flip if she found it in her bedroom, but she wasn't about to return it. Besides, even if...
What's a lady like you doing out on a night like this?
She turned around, looking for the voice. Who's there? Ladybug said. Guard up? Was someone akumatized?
There's no need to be tense. It's just me.
There's a lot of people who say, it's just me. Who are you?
Why, I'm Mr. Valentine.
Cat Noir leaped down. Oh, he was on the roof. That's why she didn't see him. Really? Ladybug said, rolling her eyes. What shenanigans are you up to this time, Cat?
Aish, my lady, your skepticism is cold.
I'm pretty sure it's because it's February.
Oh, the weather doesn't matter, Bugaboo. After all, no snow could dampen the burning warmth of my love for you.
She pursed her lips, trying not to smile. Despite Adrien being here only a few minutes ago, the mood was starkly different. Cat Noir had that effect. I'm serious. What are you doing here? He stepped closer, extending his hand.
Come with me.
I'm suspicious.
And I'm serious. I'm going all out, remember?
I just got off a date.
So you know how it feels to not be able to be with a civilian.
What?
It was a bit lonely, wasn't it? Not being able to say what you wanted to say. Not being able to dream of a future together.
She couldn't respond.
Come with me,
Cat Noir continued.
I'm not saying we have a future together, but I'd sure like to embrace the relationship we have right now.
She shrugged and, without a lapse in judgment, took his hand. You make a fair point. Her response was met with a Cheshire Cat grin as he swooped her up.
All right, he said. Let's go.
Where are we going?
I'm going to kiss you.
She recoiled in surprise. I'm sorry.
Tonight, I'm going to kiss you. Be prepared.
You are not.
Not if you don't want me to. We'll see.
Put me down.
In a moment.
So, with confusion in the air, Ladybug found herself going on a second date that day. It would indeed be a date to remember, but in the hours before midnight, in the hours when it was still Valentine's Day, Marinette, would find herself at a fork in the road between two boys, her heart beating for both of them. Thank you so much for listening. Part 10 is on its way. In the meantime, you can check out these other videos for more fanfiction. I'll catch you next time.